Welcome back to my channel. This is going to be yet another experimental video. I'm going to be attempting the origami drape technique. This is sort of the technique that you would need a mannequin for because you need a solid surface to create the pleats on the front or on the back of the garment. I actually had 2 tries, don't judge. So the first one is this one, which I've unraveled, but I sort of like drew in the fold lines on this piece of fabric, and then I had a second attempt. That's how serious this matter is. I had a serious attempt, which I think looks slightly better than the first one. I decided to play around with this on the front of a bodice. You can do this on the back as well, but for the sake of this video, I just tried this on the front. So if you want to see how I went about trying this technique, make sure to keep on watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and let's jump straight into the video. Alright, so you will need the following materials for this project, and they are a mannequin in your size or in the size of your client. You'd also need some fabric, preferably something on the thinner side, which is a woven fabric. I also got myself my fabric scissors to cut down certain parts of the fabric. You'd also need lots and lots of pins. On this channel, we're big on learning new skills and improving existing ones. I would like to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Skillshare. I've worked with them a couple of times in the past, and they're an amazing online learning community where you can learn skills covering both entrepreneurial, the business, and the creative field. They have thousands of classes by top creators in their field. Premium membership on Skillshare works out to be about $10 a month, which is less than the price of 3 cups of coffee. And in exchange for that, you get unlimited access to classes and communities in areas that you are interested in or you're simply just curious about. Because you're the sponsors of today's video, you can get access to 2 months free trial if you click the link in the description down below and try out something you haven't done before. A good example is I just recently launched my PDF printable digital patterns, which took me weeks and weeks and weeks to make because I had to do it all digitally on Adobe Illustrator. Adobe Illustrator can be very frightening, but they have lots of classes, both beginner and advanced classes on Skillshare that you can take to sort of, introduce yourself into digital drawing. Let's get into some draping and actual origami in this video. So I'm going to be grabbing my fabric and pinning it against my mannequin along the neckline and along both shoulders. So you need a few pins along this area here just to keep the fabric locked and in place. Next up, I'm roughly drawing in my neckline and shoulder line like so. You can use a pencil, a pen, as long as you can clearly see the lines. I'm also going in to just trim this area down to prevent that neckline area of the fabric from rumpling up because you don't want to add any extra crease that you don't want. So once you have that nice and straight, I'm just going in to mark my center front line like so, because this is going to guide me when it's actually time to drape those pleats in place. So starting from this side, you can start from the left or from the right, it doesn't really matter. My first step, I would want to start from around my inner shoulder area, and you want to fold this in towards the center front. This should be relatively slim in terms of like pleat fold, about 1 centimeter wide, and then you go ahead to repeat the same thing on the other side. I think symmetry is where the work is, so actually make sure that they crisscross right in the middle, and when you sort of pin this, they work in a way that doesn't add too much bulk to the next pleat. So for the second step, it starts from around outside or the outer area of the shoulder. You can see where that crease is originating from, and you want to fold this towards that center front. So when you do the corresponding side that goes over it like this, you want to ensure they crisscross right in the middle. I honestly did this about 4 times before this particular take here. So if you find yourself struggling, just give yourself time and practice before you get it right, especially if you haven't done it before. So I'm just going in to measure the distance between the actual pleats, because by the time you do the third one, you want that distance to be the same or as similar, as close as possible. For the last step or the third step, I am bringing it in from around my bust or arm curve area, and I'm guiding it slowly to the middle or the center front line, and repeating the same thing with the other side in such a way that they crisscross right on that midpoint or center front line of the garment. If you have to unpin, repin, measure, just be sure of and be satisfied of the draping and the pleating before going ahead to cut anything out. So I'm just going in here to draw out roughly my arm curve and my side seam. I'm just using this mannequin as a guide. This mannequin is a lot tinier than I am, so if I were to do this for myself, I'll most likely add some wadding to the bust and to the waist so the garment actually fits my body shape better compared to the shape of this mannequin. So once you've drawn in that arm curve and shoulder line, feel free to cut this out. I'm just cutting out along the arm curve for this side like so. I'm also going to cut along the hem or the bottom area because we don't need that part for the top. Okay, so here's a closer look of what my draped bodice is looking like. I feel like I prefer this side to that side. This side looks a whole lot neater, and how like the steps are spread out and how they crisscross in the front. But one thing I know about draping techniques is it's never easy to get it symmetrical from left to right. Like look at this other side, for example. It's not as tidy, especially on this last one here. The first two are sort of okay, they crisscross nicely in the front, but I need to fix that one there. But this is just a first trial. I'm going to mark some points with a pen and then take this off and trim off this bulky excess bit that came from, each step being overlapped on the inside. If you just feel that particular point is very bulky. So once I mark my points with a pen, just pin these pleats in place so I know exactly how to transfer this to paper or to recreate this again. Then I can move on to making this look a whole lot prettier. So with my pen, I'm just going in to draw along those fold lines on the inside and on the outside. Mark the point where the pleat or the drape starts from on the body. And I'm just going in here with a ruler to make sure the lines are clear and visible on the inner and the outer side. You can see I sort of kept the pins to hold those pleats in place, and then once you fold it the other way, you can clearly see where that pleat or that fold sits. So I'm just drawing out along that line like so. I'm going to repeat this for every single pleat or every single fold, and when I have all of my lines clear, I'm going to take out my pins and open this up, and this is what it should look like. Your shape might be slightly different in terms of width, but this is what it should look like. It should actually look a lot wider towards the bottom because you're adding more volume when you make those folds or pleats. So I'm just going in here to even out the neckline, the arm curve, and any other points that I want to be symmetrical from left to right. So I'm going to be trying this a second time, and this time around I'm just going to place this one that we did at first over fresh fabric and then cut out another layer underneath, but this time adding a 1 centimeter seam allowance all the way around. And like we transfer our dots, I'm going to put pins at the point where those folds originate on the garment, and using a chalk just transfer those points to the new fabric that we just cut. So I'm going to do this for the left and for the right hand side, and then I'm going to take this to my mannequin again, and we're going to try this a second time to see if it looks a lot nicer. So I'm just going to quickly drape this over, starting from step 1, work our way all the way to step 3. If you want to cut anything shorter, feel free to do so. If you want to actually change the shape of the neckline, if you want to make it a V, sweetheart, feel free to do so. You really have creative freedom when it comes to fashion design. Now that I have a slightly better looking drape, I'm going to go ahead and trim down some of the bulk that I have accumulated on that hem. So I have kept the pleat pinned in place, and any area that you can see when you open up clearly folds, I am going to cut this down because that is something that definitely adds more bulk to the bottom or the hem of that front. So I'm just trimming this area down like so. You can go ahead and check the other bottom areas of each pleat to see where you can reduce excess from before going ahead to sew down each pleat by hand. I just found doing it by hand to be a lot nicer and neater, especially if you're going to be doing this like, you know, on a final garment that would be worn. You want to do this by hand. I also think stitching down each pleat, not just at that center front edge, but just a little bit upwards, would hold it in place even when you sort of wear this piece. So this is my first sample done. I'll definitely do another take, and I'll let you guys know how that gets on the community tab or on my Instagram account at Kim Dave Designs. So if there's something I learned from this technique is you have to be very, very patient. You cannot just rush through this, because if something is not pleated quite right or not stitched quite right, the moment you put the garment on, it actually shows. I would also highly recommend to do a few test samples. I think I definitely want to do at least one more before I go ahead to incorporate this detail on the front of a dress, a jumpsuit, a play suit, anything that I just want to experiment with. I would also highly recommend, if you're draping this technique for the first time, use a thinner fabric. Don't be like me that used this heavy duty thick fabric. Use something thinner like a muslin or a very light cotton, so when you're making those fold and pleats on the front or on the back of your garment, it just looks a lot nicer and it's easier to stitch when you're ready to commit on that pleat. But if you guys enjoyed watching this video, let me know down below. Comment all of your ideas, thoughts and suggestions, and like I said, if you've tried this technique and you have any tips, please honestly let me know down below so I can actually improve. If there's something I'm going to be doing a lot in this year on this channel, is trying out things I've never done before, because I know I learn best when I actually try something out, learn from my mistakes, try again, and constantly get better. So you're in for a ride in seeing me try and fail until I actually get it right on this channel. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Let me know what you'd like to see next on this channel, and until my next video, have a good morning, afternoon and evening wherever you are. Bye.